Have you ever heard the old rule about the woods? The one your grandma might whisper on a stormy night? Well, in a village called Dusken Hollow, that rule was law. After sunset, doors were bolted, curtains drawn, and every child knew the lesson by heart. If you see Labubu, run. Don't speak, don't feed, and for the love of your soul, don't smile back. 12-year-old Mira thought it was ridiculous. A city kid, she was only in the hollow to help care for her dying grandmother. It's just some creepy forest mascot, she'd joke, trying to lighten the grim atmosphere of the old house. But her grandmother never laughed. Her eyes, cloudy with age and fear, would lock onto Mort. It feeds off kindness, child. That's how it finds you. That's how it grows. Mira would just roll her eyes. Monsters weren't real. It was just a story to keep kids from getting lost. But one grey afternoon, a sound pulled her from the safety of the village pathosoft. Childish giggle echoing from deep within the trees. Curiosity won. She followed it, the fog swirling around her ankles. It started like a game. A shadow would dart behind a gnarled oak. A flash of what looked like wild hair would disappear into a thicket. The laughter, light and playful, rustled through the leaves. It was a game of hide-and-seek, and then she found it. Perched on a low, moss-covered branch was a small, crooked creature with a toothy grin that stretched almost ear to ear. It blinked its oversized dark eyes at her. It didn't look menacing. It looked lonely, like a lost animal. It tilted its head and held out a twig, a silent offering, a toy. A nervous laugh escaped Mira's lips. "You're not so scary." She remembered her grandmother's warning, but looking at this small thing, it felt silly. Reaching into her backpack, she pulled out half of her peanut butter sandwich. "Here," she said gently, "you look hungry." The creature, Labubu, crept forward on spindly limbs. It snatched the sandwich with surprising speed, sniffed it, and then devoured it in 2 bites. Its grin widened, impossibly so. More. Mira couldn't help but smile. She gave it the rest of her lunch, the other half of her sandwich, an apple, and even her last chocolate chip cookie. Labubu licked every last crumb from its long, sharp fingers, its gaze fixed on her. The stare went on for too long. The air grew cold, and in the black pools of its eyes, she saw a flicker of her own face reflected back at her. "Thanks," it hissed, the sound like dry leaves skittering across pavements. Still ... hungry. The forest suddenly felt wrong. The birds had gone silent. The leaves were unnaturally still. Mira took a step back, her own smile fading. That's all I have." Labubu tilted its head, a perfect mimic of her earlier gesture. "Not all," it rasped. "You gave food. Now ... give face." Before Mira could even process the words, the creature's grin stretched wider than seemed possible. Its skin began to ripple, to shift. Bones cracked and rearranged with sickening, wet sounds. And in a horrifying instant, it looked just like her, an identical copy, standing there in the gloom. "Run," it said, in her own voice, perfectly pitched. You should have run. Mira turned, her heart a drum against her ribs. But the forest had changed. The path was gone. The trees themselves seemed to shift and close in, their branches like grasping claws. She ran blind with terror as laughter echoed all around her. Her laughter, she finally burst from the tree line, collapsing in front of her grandmother's house, gasping, sobbing. The front door flew open and her grandmother rushed out, her face etched with worry. Mira could only nod, trembling uncontrollably. But her grandmother didn't move to help her. She stopped, her eyes widening, not with relief, but with pure dread. You're not her. Before Mira could protest, the old woman raised a small silver hand mirror, and the reflection, it wasn't her face. It was Labubu's grin, twisting her features, melting into her skin like a mask. She tried to scream, but her mouth only stretched into that same wide, horrifying grin. The real Mira was still in the woods, trapped, a silent passenger inside Labubu's mind, watching through its eyes, screaming where no one could ever hear it. And with every act of kindness, every shared meal, Labubu becomes more like the person who fed it, and less of what it was before. So if you ever find yourself walking near the woods and a wide-eyed child offers you a smile and asks for just a bite of your lunch, remember Mira, don't feed, don't speak, and whatever you do, don't smile back, or you'll be next. Thanks for watching it. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more tales from the shadows. Stay safe out there.